you doing today? It's cold?
It's cold.
And we're going to talk about one of my favorites, gambling, and which I know the illustrious state of Ohio has, had the gambling industry casino forced upon them by our voters. Now they finally have voted, so the Dayton Daily News has finally shut up that we have finally voted. Instead of taking a proper course, which they should have done years ago, and pushing for horse racing.
We had horse racing.
They denigrated horse racing. They have ruined it. And the only time you see the Dayton Daily News talk positively about it is in the last month or so when the tragic barn fire.
When we had horse barbecue.
Yeah, then they'll go down and see the human interest story and how racing really influences a lot of things that go on in Ohio. I know
Greg thinks that because there's big money in horse racing, not necessarily in Ohio, but that it helps agriculture.
Well, I think that it doesn't have a good promoter in this state for the benefits that it brings as a gambling dollar. It's the best dollar spent that has the most flow through the Ohio economy. In other words, if you read some of the human interest stories that were in the Dayton Daily News, they talk about people that, they can't work in front of computers, they can't do this. And if you look at who get benefits from horse racing, it's all socioeconomic entities. The blacksmith, the person that grows the hay, the person that works on the trucks, the person that works on the farm, the people that work at the track.
It's all about this much of the Ohio economy, though.
I think you're incorrect, David. You've never looked at it very seriously. Every time we have this discussion, you see no value. You consider pulling a one-armed bandit the same as racing.
No, I don't consider them the same. I think
there's a stem cell therapy.
I think fundamentally gambling is a bad bet. The lottery's a bad bet.
The lottery's a terrible bet, but you can't lump them all together, just like we do.
But horse racing is a better bet because
parimutuel wagering allows you to wager against your fellow man. Your fellow man says that the lava man who's returning based on stem cell therapy. And if you look at horse racing, unfortunately, every human growth hormone, every performance-enhancing drug...
We practice them on horses first.
We practice them on horses first. Trust me, I've seen it. However, my contention is, from a local standpoint, if we had racing at the fairgrounds instead of down in Lebanon, and you put in like casino down there and kind of aided horse racing, we would have a much better economy overall holistically in Ohio than what we're going to get for casinos.
I would tend to agree with that. I got to also say that I have been to one horse race, and it's pretty impressive when those horses come by you. There's nothing quite like it. I mean, I've been next to tanks going by me, and I think the horses are a little cooler.
Well, and it also, if you look at Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, Sheikh Mo as we call him, he is a very big proponent of horse racing, and, he lives in Dubai.
So we could get some Dubai money flowing into Ohio?
We do have Dubai money flowing into Ohio. There are horsemen in Ohio that are in partnership with Sheikh Mo's operation. Matter of fact, one of Sheikh Mo's trainers is from Dayton, Ohio.
Wow.
A Centerville grad. So,
because Sheikh Mo doesn't have anything better to do with his momo than spending on horses around.
In Ohio, we buy Sheikh Mo's gas and we put it in NASCAR. And NASCAR, Sheikh Mo takes his money and buys American horses.
Okay.
I love it. I think it's a weird thing.
The reality is, our whole voting on gambling has been a disaster from day one. We've always had these issues on the ballot that very much specifically to very specific special interests. And that's not how we should put things on the ballot.
We should do the greatest good, and the greatest good is horse racing for Ohio, and not casinos. Just the way it is.
I don't know why we can't have both. Have the casino at the racetrack.
And if you're going to say that, they're doing something with horses or whatever, I agree. Go ahead. My deal is, if you're going to try all these things out on horses, freeze their blood, let's not try to track them down. If you want to drug anybody, if the NFL wants to take their own drugs and performance, let them do it. At least as a society, we'll be able to see that their kidneys go bad, that they start killing people earlier, they die of dementia.
Roid rage.
All those things. At least, we'll see what the effects of those drugs are. And the same way with racing. Sure, there's going to be issues, but we'll just say, do whatever you want. Tell us what the issues are, what you're putting in the horses. Then we can determine whether these kinds of things are either good or bad for humans, and what's the way to do it.
Greg, you don't think that horse racing and putting casinos at the racetracks are going to solve all the problems here in Ohio?
No, I don't think they're going to solve the problems, but it was a much smarter way to go than what got forced down us by a constitutional amendment.
The constitutional amendment's a mess. You know what I think is even more interesting is right now that Strickland is actually behind in the polls to that Republican challenger whose name I can't say.
Why not? Why can't you say Kasich? Fox News people, what do you want, man?
There we go.
Johnny.
Well,
who cares? Yes, we're always going to... Ohio's going to vote in a police state, and Kasich is a good start.
Is he?
Yeah.
You're a Republican. You're supposed to like these guys.
But that's the reason I believe in the Second Amendment. I can protect myself from those people. Well, anyway, what my contention is, and I love racing, and I think it does a great benefit and a great service. I think you should go, and we'll root for Lava Man because the old man is coming back.
We'll put a link up to this New York Times article about Lava Man and his stem cell therapy. But in the meantime, that's enough talk about racing and gambling and all the rest for today. So
have a good one.
We'll see you tomorrow.